In this video, I'm going to show you how we can add on lab costs to an item number. And I'm also going to talk about financial locks that you can have in place for the clinic as well. So first of all, let's go over the lab costs. So there are two ways in which you can add a lab cost to an item number. So the first way is that you can add it to the appointment at the time of invoicing. So you add your item code and you associate a cost with that item code. So we can do that on this appointment here. So let's say the patient has just come in for their appointment and the dentist is ready to add the item codes to the appointment for invoicing. So we can go to the plus. We can press the plus here again, and we can add on a mouth guard here. So 151. Now, there is a cost already added in here. However, it might be $0 in your case. So if it's $0, you can add in a cost here, and this is the cost of the lab bill. So the total fee down the bottom is what the patient gets charged, and the cost is essentially what costs the clinic, which is the lab bill. So in that case, you can press save and insert, and you've got your cost added to that particular item code, the 151. The patient will never see the cost on the invoice or the receipt. This is just for internal use only. So they can go ahead and complete the appointment. And then that cost will also show up on your activity details report when you're running that report to calculate your provider commissions. And then you'll just minus off that cost over that period and deduct that from their commission. The other option that you might need to consider is you've just received a lab bill and the item number has already been invoiced, perhaps a couple of weeks ago. You want to go and add in a cost before you calculate your commissions for that month. You can go back to that previous appointment. So let's go back to one from the 3rd of June. This one here, so it's already been completed. The item code has already been invoiced, the 613, which is a crown. There's no cost added to this yet. So to add a cost, you can uncomplete, click on the item number and press edit, and you can add in the cost of your lab bill just in here. So if your lab bill's $450, add that in and save, and then complete the appointment on the bottom right. Once you've added that cost in, you can see that under reports, activity details. If we have a look at the last 30 days, the patient here, we can see that the 613 was invoiced with a cost of $450. So when you're calculating your provider commissions, you'll be using the activity details report. You'll be adding payments received plus payments from deposits, and then you can deduct off any cost associated within that time period. Now, the other way is adding a cost directly to a item code in your fee schedule. So you can go into your fee schedule, your standard one. If you've got a mouth guard, for example, your lab bills are always the same for a mouth guard. You can just add in the cost to the fee schedule here. So double click here. You can add in your mouth guard cost that the lab charges and then save. So whenever you add this item number to an appointment, that cost is already going to be there for you. You don't need to go back and add it to the appointment. Now, lastly, let's talk about our financial locks. So financial locks you can find under management and go to general. So the financial lock period is here for you. So the reason why you want a financial lock is to prevent any discrepancies between Praktika and your financial records. So say, for example, you have paid $5,000 to a provider for their commission as the month of January, let's say. If a staff member reverses a transaction recorded for that period, when you rerun the same report, it will have a discrepancy with the original report that you've run. So having a financial lock in place ensures that all the past billing stays the same indefinitely. So if I put a financial lock period from today, I can put that in. I can do it from yesterday. It doesn't allow me to do it from today. So if I put that financial lock in place, that means that users will not be able to uncomplete appointments on or before the lock date. They won't be able to reverse transactions recorded before or on the lock date, or they won't be able to add a new transaction with the effective date before or on that lock date. Now, something to be aware of is a user can have permission to override the financial lock period, and they can still modify the data on the appointments. So they'll just be able to uncomplete appointments, reverse transactions, and add new transactions as normal. Now, to check if someone has access or to give them access, go to Practice Staff, click on Edit on their row, and just allow them to have access to edit log transactions. If you don't want someone to have access to it, simply just untick it and they won't be able to go back and uncomplete or make any changes to transactions on the appointments on or before that lock date. Another good way to see who has access and who doesn't is to go to the permission view up the top here, scroll across till you find the edit log transactions, and this will show you who has access and who doesn't. Another situation you might encounter is if you have a financial lock in place and you're needing staff members to go back and add in a cost of an item number that's within that financial lock period. I'll show you what you can do to get around that. So you'll actually need to go into management and go to fee schedules. And what you're going to want to do is if you don't have a custom fee schedule already, you'll need to create a new fee schedule, base it off the custom one here, and just give it a name called custom. And then you can create it from there. However, you can check if you've already got one. I can see this one's called custom. If I double click onto it, to know that it's a custom fee schedule, have a look on the top right and just double check that it says custom up here. This will allow you to change any custom codes, descriptions, and everything in here. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to add in a custom code and call it something like lab bill. So what I've done here is I've just double clicked on the next custom code available. So let's just show you again. So lab bill, and then description, lab bill. You don't need to add in a cost or a fee, just create the code and save. So what you're going to need to do is when you receive that lab bill, if you can't go back to the appointment because it's in the financial lock period and add in the item code that way, you're going to need to create an appointment on the day that you receive the lab bill. So let's refer back to this one. This one was on the 3rd of June. Let's pretend there's a financial lock period as of the 17th of June. So I can't go back to this appointment and add on the cost to the appointment that's already been invoiced. So I've received the lab bill today. I'm just going to create an appointment in an admin column. If you don't have an admin column, please reach out to our support team and we can get that added on for you. So just create a 15-minute appointment with that patient and then press OK. So what you're going to do from here is you're going to make sure that it is assigned to the provider who's performed the work. So on the top right, because they're not painted in the column, you're going to need to manually assign the appointment to a provider. So I'm going to assign it to Dr. Martha, and you're just going to press the plus and press the plus again if it takes you to their treatment plan. From here, you're going to change the fee schedule to that custom one that you've just made or you've got created, and you're going to look for that item code that you've created. So let's say lab bill, and then here is where you can add in the cost of the lab bill, $500. You can add any procedure notes to this if you want. So if there's an invoice, you can add in an invoice number. And you can put in a date there and any other details that you want, because you're not printing this out for the patient or anything. It doesn't matter what notes you put in here. So you can add in whatever you want there, save, and then insert. and then complete that appointment. So now that is a custom code that's been added to the appointment assigned to Dr. Martha for this patient for lab work that was done maybe a couple of weeks ago. And because there's a financial lock in place, you can't go back and edit that old appointment. So that will show up in your activity details report, just like so. The transaction is that custom code, lab bill. There's no fee billed for it because we already billed it on that previous appointment. It's just adding in that cost for you there.